This is George Sicalius, and this is Sprint 1. Um, so I'm gonna start off with what I fixed from last quarter. Well, actually, I'll start with the demo. So the only thing I added was a life counter. So if the player gets hit, it deducts health. Let's see. Yeah. And then if it reaches 0, nothing really happens. It just resets. Um, but yeah, now there's a life counter. So as to what I fixed from last quarter. So I lost most of my points just by not cleaning up my memory and my exables. So let me just do a quick rundown of that. So yeah, my main issue was that I was creating registration and deregistration commands, but I forgot to delete them. I actually vaguely remember when I created the registration commands that I thought in my head, oh, I'll just go back later and add those in, but apparently I forgot, and that really cost me. Yeah. So those are collidables, drawables, drawable 2D, inputable. Yeah. Oh, and also using type def. So instead of a couple places I had like the whole drawn out list of type, alarm, of iterator and stuff like that. So I went back and just changed it to, well, using type def to give it its own name, and I kept an iterator for a couple of them. But yeah. So yeah, delete keys for deletes for those registrations. And then yeah, game object. I think that was all of my memory leaks. Well, all of the memory leaks that I can recount. Another thing was I think I was calling alarm in the wrong place. So initially I was testing to see which alarm I was calling inside of the alarm manager, but I moved that into the alarmable. So the alarm manager calls alarm, it passes the ID of the alarm, and then this calls the proper alarm within alarmable. I believe that's all that I needed to fix. Pretty sure. So yeah, that's QIn. As I mentioned in class, for my extra system, I was thinking about attaching DirectX to my game engine. So let me just run the demo first. I just ran it. Okay. Come on. Okay. Okay, so I just have a ship and a plane. However, I created those objects within my game engine inside of my load resources. So yeah, here's where I'm creating the ship. Here's where I'm creating the plane. And then I'm calling draw within the game engine's draw. And then it's rendering using DirectX. So inside of DirectX, DX apps draw scene, it calls draw on Kiwi, which actually renders the objects. Um, so yeah, I just put together this little hard coded demo, just to give me a better idea of where I should go next and what I'll need later on. Um, so one of the things that I realized I'm gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna have to make some kind of graphics engine side shader manager, to, well, manage the shaders and all their um, graphics objects assigned to them. Um, so yeah, because ideally what I want to do is I want to set a given shader to context, um, the camera stuff the user is going to define, and then all of the graphics objects corresponding to that shader would then be rendered. I don't want to keep having to, for each individual objects, having to set the shader, set the camera, render it, and then switch to a different shader when in essence I'm gonna only have like a couple shaders. And um, yeah, I just think it would be more efficient to just render all of the graphics objects that share the same shader and then switch to a different shader. Um, so in order to do that, I was thinking about, for the graphics engine side shader manager, thinking about doing something similar to our collidable system. Um, so how we use collidable groups to um, essentially, whatchamacallit, we can take a instance of a game object, register it to be collidable, and then that will be put inside of a collidable group. And then when the actual collision test is collision pair is tested, it goes through each of the groups. So I would have a shader group. What that would do is each shader group would hold all of the graphics objects that have the same shaders, and then using a command pattern, I'll store them corresponding to their shader. Um, but yeah, I should really have a UML diagram to better explain it. But yeah, that's where I'm thinking about going. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically all I have for this week.